Imagine the perfect mystery. Not a whodunit, not a crime novel, a real one. One where the clues are so bizarre, so contradictory, that every possible explanation feels like it's missing something. A mystery set in one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. A mystery that begins with 9 experienced hikers, full of life, on an adventure, and ends with them dead under circumstances so strange, the case file remains officially labeled a compelling natural force. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident, and for over 60 years it has been the ultimate puzzle box. But what if we've been looking at it wrong? What if the answer isn't a single, monstrous secret, but a cascade of ordinary events that, when put together, created something truly extraordinary? Let's open the archive. This story starts not in the cold, but in the warmth of a university in Sverdlovsk, USSR, in 1959. Meet the team. 9 friends, all students, all expert hikers. Their leader was a 23-year-old radio engineering student named Igor Dyatlov. These weren't tourists. They were certified Grade 2 hikers, the second highest rank in the Soviet system. They'd skied through blizzards, scaled peaks. This was what they lived for. Their mission was a 190-mile trek through the northern Urals. The final leg would take them over a mountain called Kholat Syakhl. In the local Mansi language, that name has a foreboding translation: the Mountain of the Dead. A coincidence, surely. To these rational socialist young scientists, it was just a name. Their plan was meticulous. They were expected to send a telegram to their sports club upon completion. The estimated date was no later than February 12th. February 12th came and went. No telegram. No one was immediately worried. Delays happened, but as the days stretched on, the families grew anxious. Finally, on February 20th, with still no word, the Army launched a massive search and rescue operation. It was on February 26th that a search party, led by a man named Mikhail Sherevin, found something on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl. A tent. But it was wrong. The tent was still standing, but it had been cut open from the inside, not in one place, but in several places. Their skis, their boots, their warm clothes, all were left neatly inside. A camera was found on a backpack. A diary was left open. It was as if everyone had been sitting inside preparing for bed, and then, in a single unified moment of panic, they had ripped their way out and fled into the night. Why? What was so terrifying that it made 9 experienced, rational mountaineers flee their shelter into minus 30 degrees Celsius temperatures without even stopping to put on their shoes? The searchers followed the footprints. They were all from socks or bare feet. They led down the slope towards a dense forest about a mile away. The story the footprints told was one of controlled initial movement, not a panicked sprint. They walked. This was a deliberate exodus. Under a large old cedar tree, about a mile from the tent, they found the first 2 bodies: Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko. They were barefoot, dressed only in their underwear. And bizarrely, there were signs they had tried to start a fire. Scorch marks were found on the tree's trunk, high up, as if they had climbed it. Why climb a tree? To see something, to get away from something. Then, between the tree and the tent, they found the next 3, the group leader Igor Dyatlov, Zina Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. They had died trying to get back to the shelter they had just fled. Their cause of death was simple: brutal hypothermia. But the mystery was about to get much, much stranger. It took over 2 more months for the spring melt to reveal the final 4 hikers, buried under 4 meters of snow in a small ravine. And this is where the case file explodes. These 4 were better dressed than the others. They had taken clothes from the ones who had died first, but they had also suffered catastrophic injuries. Lyudmila Dubanina and Semyon Zolotaryov had massive chest fractures. Their ribs were crushed. The force was compared to a car crash, but there was no external bruising. It was the kind of damage caused by extreme blunt force trauma. Semyon had a fractured skull. Lyudmila was missing her tongue, her eyes, her lips. This last gruesome detail has fueled decades of speculation, but the official autopsy was clear. This was likely post-mortem scavenging by small animals. In the weeks they lay buried, the soft tissues were the first to go. It's a tragic but natural phenomenon. The real mystery wasn't the missing tongue, it was the crushed chests. So, what happened? The official Soviet investigation was closed, citing a compelling natural force. That's it, case closed. But the internet and investigators have been busy. Let's break down the top theories. Theory 1. The Avalanche. This is the most popular modern scientific theory. An avalanche. It explains why they cut their way out, the entrance was blocked. It explains the panic. It could even explain the chest trauma. If the hikers were buried and then the snow set like concrete, the pressure could have caused those injuries. But there are problems. The slope was too gentle for a major avalanche. The tent was still standing, not crushed. And the footprints showed they walked away, weren't swept away. An avalanche happens in seconds. They had time to organize their exit. Theory 2. The military test. The area was near a secret military zone. Were they victims of a weapons test? A sonic weapon? A misfired missile? This could explain the panic, the internal injuries without external wounds. It even explains the government's secrecy. But there's no physical evidence. No shrapnel, no radiation beyond normal background levels from their lanterns. And why would they simply walk away from the tent? If a missile hit, it would have destroyed the tent. Theory 3. The Yeti, or aliens. Let's get this out of the way. A monstrous, unknown creature? An alien abduction? The missing tongue fueled these stories, but there were no strange footprints beyond their own, no evidence of any other creature. It's a fun campfire story, but it doesn't hold up to the facts. So we're left with nothing. All the theories have a hole. The perfect mystery. But what if we stop looking for a single smoking gun? What if the truth is a sequence of events, a cascade failure, where one small problem led to another and another until it was too late? Let's reconstruct that night. Step 1. The setup. The group was behind schedule. They set up camp on the mountain slope, a decision later criticized. They were tired, it was dark, the wind was ferocious. Step 2. The trigger. A slab avalanche. Not a massive Hollywood avalanche, a slab avalanche. A sheet of hard snow breaks loose and slams into the tent. It doesn't crush them, but it traps them. The tent pole may have snapped, hitting 1 or 2 of them in the chest, causing the first non-fatal injuries. The air is thick with panic. They are buried alive in their shelter. Step 3. The decision. Cut and run. Their training kicks in. If the entrance is blocked and the tent is compromised, your priority is to get out now. In the pitch black, in a state of shock, they slash the tent and scramble out. They don't have time for boots. The priority is escape. Step 4. The split. A logical mistake. Once outside, they face a new horror. It's minus 30 degrees Celsius. They are in socks. The tent is wrecked. They have to make a choice. The two Yuris, maybe the coldest or most panicked, head straight for the forest to find firewood. The others, led by Igor, try to see if the tent is salvageable. Step 5. Hypothermia and paradoxical undressing. This is a critical medical fact. In the late stages of severe hypothermia, victims often experience a phenomenon called paradoxical undressing. As the brain fails, the constricted blood vessels at the body's surface suddenly dilate, creating a burning, hot flash. The victim, in their confused state, starts tearing their clothes off. This explains why the first two were found in their underwear. They weren't stripped by a force. Their own dying brains tricked them. Step 6. The fatal return journey. Meanwhile, Igor and his group realize the tent is a lost cause. Their only hope is to join the others at the cedar tree, but by now, hypothermia is setting in. Their coordination fails. Their thinking slows. One by one, they succumb on the slope, within sight of their friends. Step 7. The final 4. A shelter becomes a trap. The final 4, the best dressed, likely made a shelter in the ravine, using the snow itself as insulation from the wind. It was the smartest decision they could make. But here, the mountain delivered its final, cruel blow. A small snowslide, or simply the accumulation of wind-blown snow, buried them in their den. The weight of the snow, compacting over time, was the compelling natural force that crushed them. It was slow, silent, and inescapable. So, what killed the Dyatlov group? It wasn't a Yeti, it wasn't a missile. It was a perfect storm of bad decisions, bad luck, and the utterly indifferent, brutal power of nature. A slight mistake in campsite selection, a small slab of snow, the physiological horror of hypothermia, a sensible shelter that became a tomb. There is no monster in this story. The monster was the cold, the monster was the wind, the monster was the mountain itself. The Dyatlov Pass incident endures not because it's supernatural, but because it's a terrifying lesson in how quickly human competence can be undone by the environment. It's a reminder that nature doesn't need monsters to be deadly. It just is. What do you think? Does the Cascade failure explain the clues, or is there a piece of the puzzle we're still missing? Let us know in the comments, and if you have a mystery you want us to investigate, tell us below. Please subscribe and join us next time as we dig into another story lost to history.